A late-night phone call shattered my sleep. The shrill ringtone jolted me awake at 3:05 a.m. Squinting at the harsh glow of my phone screen, I saw an unknown number flashing. Against my better judgment, I answered, "Hello? Who is this?" A child's trembling voice replied, "Hi, mister. My name is Stacy." The fear in her tone snapped me to full alertness. "Stacy, honey, are you okay? Why are you calling?" I said, "I can't talk to anyone, or I'll be punished," she whispered between sobs. "Who told you that? Your father?" "No. The man who took me. He says this is my new home now, that my parents gave me away. I haven't seen my dad in a year. He keeps me in the basement." My blood ran cold. She sounded like a kidnapping victim. Fighting to stay calm, I grabbed another phone and dialed emergency services, keeping the line open as I spoke to her. "Stacy, what's your last name? Do you remember your dad's number?" "Martin, I only know 3 numbers. 203. The dispatcher listened intently, searching databases for missing children. Then Stacy gasped. "He's coming! I hear him!" A loud crash echoed, followed by screams and a man's furious roar. The line went dead. Police arrived the next morning. Stacy had been missing for a year, snatched from her bedroom. I waited for her to call again, but she never did. The most chilling detail? Why was my number the only one in her contacts? Another unsettling call came weeks later. A scammer pretending to be from the tax office. I played along, mocking his threats. But then, things took a bizarre turn. "Sir, it's 1985. Cooperate or I'll call the police," I scoffed. "Buddy, it's 2017. Silence. Then, shaky breathing. "They promised I'd go back. They lied." "Who lied?" "Hell," he said flatly. "I got tricked into working here. Time doesn't move right, everything's gray, no one talks to me." His desperation sounded real. "Why are you scamming people?" "To make them desperate. Desperate people do bad things, end up here." His voice cracked. "Take over my contract, please." I hung up, unnerved. Was it an elaborate lie or something worse? 2 years ago, my father died suddenly. While sorting his belongings, his old phone rang. Unknown caller. "Hey," a smooth voice said. "Who is this?" "You know me." Many names. Devil, Satan, Lucifer. I nearly laughed. "This isn't funny. Your father helped me for years. In return, I gave him everything. Jobs, family, power." The voice darkened. "He did terrible things for me. You're sick. Your mother will die. Your child won't survive. Your wife will leave." "It's already written." I threw the phone, shaking. But when my Mopar died of cancer, when my wife lost our baby and left, I remembered. This morning, the dead phone in my closet rang again. The screen was dark, the battery long gone. "I think I'll answer. Fear always has a reason." The phone kept ringing, an eerie chime. Cutting through the silence of my room, my fingers hovered over it, trembling. Every instinct screamed to ignore it, but something deeper pulled me in. I pressed answer. Static hissed, then a voice, smooth, almost amused. "You picked up. Good." My throat tightened. "What do you want?" "Just a conversation. You've had time to think, haven't you? About what I told you?" I clenched my jaw. "You're lying. My father wasn't." "Wasn't what? A sinner? A man who made deals?" A low chuckle. "Everyone does. Eventually. Even you." The air in the room thickened. My reflection in the mirror looked pale, haunted. "I'm not like him." "Aren't you?" The voice dripped with mock sympathy. "You wished for things, bargained in the dark, begged for relief when the world crushed you." A memory flashed. Kneeling by my mother's hospital bed, whispering promises to any force that would listen. The voice sharpened. Now, let's talk terms. Terms. Your father's debt wasn't fully paid, and you're drowning. I can fix that. A cold weight settled in my chest. What's the price? Silence. Then, softer. Nothing you won't miss. The line went dead. I stared at the phone. Outside, the wind howled like something laughing. I should have let it ring. The clattered to the floor as I backed away, my breath coming in short gasps. The silence that followed felt heavier than before, charged with something unspoken, something waiting. Then, the lights flickered. A draft snaked through the room, despite the closed windows. The air smelled faintly of sulfur, like a struck match. My reflection in the mirror wavered, and for a heartbeat I saw someone else standing behind me, a shadow with eyes that gleamed like wet coal. I spun around. Nothing. But the phone screen lit up again, a text notification. You already know the answer. My hands shook as I typed back, "Leave me alone." The reply was instant. You called me first. A memory surfaced, one I'd buried. Years ago, drunk and furious, after my father's funeral, I'd screamed at the sky, demanding answers, bargaining with anything that would listen. Had something answered? The next text came before I could think. Midnight, the crossroads by the old church. Come alone. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall with a crack, screen dark. But at 11:59 that night, I found myself pulling on my coat, because the terrible truth was I wanted to go, and that scared me more than anything. The clock ticked toward midnight as I stood at the edge of the abandoned churchyard, the cold biting through my jacket. The crossroads ahead lay empty, bathed in the sickly glow of a flickering street lamp. My breath fogged the air as I whispered, "This is insane." Yet I didn't leave. At exactly 12, the lamp went out. Darkness, swallowed, wrote. Thick, unnatural, like ink poured over the world. Then, from the blackness, footsteps, slow, deliberate. A figure emerged, silhouetted against the night. Not a shadow, something wearing one. Its outline blurred at the edges, as if reality itself couldn't decide what shape it should take. You came. The voice wasn't just in my ears. It vibrated in my bones. The same smooth tone from the phone. Smart. I swallowed hard. What do you want? Same as always. It stepped closer. The air turned greasy, clinging to my skin. A deal. My father's face flashed in my mind. His smile before the stroke. The way he'd hum while cooking breakfast. The man I thought I knew. Did he really work for you? A laugh, like dry leaves skittering on pavement. Oh, he believed he was using me. The shape tilted its head. They all do. A car passed in the distance. For a split second, headlights cut through the dark, and I saw it. Not a face, but a lack of one, features twisting like smoke. Then darkness returned. My knees buckled. I don't want... You do. It leaned in. The smell of burnt hair filled my nose. Your mother's cancer. Your wife's betrayal. The baby you'll never hold. A cold finger traced my cheek. I can make it unhappen. Something inside me fractured. How? The whisper curled into my ear. Say yes. And God help me, I opened my mouth. To be continued. The word caught in my throat like a fishhook. Yep. A sudden gust of wind tore through. The crossroads, howling like a chorus of drowned voices. The street lamp flared back to life with a pop, flooding the road with harsh, flickering light. The figure recoiled, with a hiss, just for an instant, but long enough. I stumbled back, gasping. My phone buzzed violently in my pocket. On instinct, I yanked it out. The screen displayed a single word in blood-red text. Run. I didn't hesitate. Pounding pavement, the thing's enraged shriek chasing me. I realized two terrible truths. First, this wasn't the first time it had hunted someone at these crossroads. Second, the text hadn't come from my phone. My screen was still dark, shattered from when I'd thrown it earlier. Something else had just saved me, and whatever it was, I'd have to face it too. The night swallowed me whole as I fled toward the only place left, the abandoned church, its broken steeple clawing at the sky. Inside, the darkness waited, and it was older than what followed me. The church doors groaned as I crashed through them, rotten wood splintering under my weight. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of mildew and something older. Burnt candle wax and dried blood. Moonlight streamed through broken stained glass, painting the pews in fractured colors. Behind me, the night had gone unnaturally still. No wind, no footsteps, just silence. Then the whispers started. Not from outside, from inside the church. Dozens of voices overlapping, murmuring in languages I didn't recognize. The temperature plummeted. My breath fogged in front of me as I backed toward the altar, my pulse roaring in my ears. A shadow moved in the rafters. Not the thing from the crossroads. Something worse. It unfolded from the darkness like a spider, limbs too long, too wrong, its body a shifting mass of tangled shadows. Where its face should have been, there was only a yawning void, a mouth lined with jagged, broken teeth. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. I realized with dawning horror that they weren't warning me. They were laughing. The thing dropped from the ceiling, landing in a crouch behind me. Up close, I could see its skin wasn't black. It was empty, a living cutout of the world behind it. A terrifying, dampling thing, like a terror bite, its blustering blackout of the world behind it. It tilted its head, studying me. Then, in a voice like grinding bones, "You shouldn't have run." The last thing I saw before the darkness swallowed me whole was my own reflection in its hollow eyes, and the moment it winked. The darkness didn't feel like emptiness, it felt like being digested. Thick, wet pressure surrounded me as I tumbled through the void, the terrible laughter echoing in my bones. Then, impact. Cold stone against my cheek. I blinked up at a vaulted ceiling hung with rusted iron chandeliers. The air smelled of damp earth and funeral lilies. This wasn't the church anymore. "Welcome to the waiting room." The voice came from beside me. A man in a moth-eaten suit sat cross-legged on the floor, idly flipping through a magazine with no cover. His skin had the waxy sheen of an embalmed corpse. "Where?" "Don't ask." He turned a page. "You won't like the answer." I pushed myself up. We were in what looked like an abandoned train station, the walls covered in peeling advertisements for products that didn't exist. A flickering departure board listed names instead of destinations. I spotted my father Bunches near the bottom. The suited man sighed. "They always send the new ones to me." He finally looked up, his pupils contracting vertically like a cat's. "Here's the deal, kid. You've got two choices." He held up a skeletal finger. "Ooh? You wait here forever." A second finger uncurled. "Or two, you take the job." "What job?" His grin split his face too wide. "Replacement." A distant scream echoed through the station. It sounded familiar. The man stood, brushing dust from his lapels. "Your father's shift is over. Time for the next generation to pick up the family business." He produced a contract from thin air. The paper yellowed with age. At the bottom, I recognized my father's shaky signature. and beside it, a blank space waiting for mine. The screams grew louder. They were coming from the tunnels, and this time I was certain one of them was mine. The screams in the tunnels rose to a crescendo, wrapping around me like barbed wire. I stared at the contract, my father's signature bleeding slightly at the edges, as if written in something, be darker than ink. The suited man tapped the paper with a fingernail that curled like a talon. "Tick-tock, kid. The Midnight Express won't wait forever." A gust of hot wind rushed from the tunnel, carrying the scent of burning hair and something sweetly rotten. The departure board flickered violently, names scrambling before settling into new configurations. My own now appeared beside my father's, flashing red. I swallowed hard. What exactly does the job entail? The man chuckled, a sound like dry bones in a tin can. "Oh, you know? Soul collection, temptation, the occasional creative torment." He leaned in, his breath smelling of old pennies. "Mostly just listening to people beg. That's the real hell of it." The screams in the tunnel took on words now. My father's voice, ragged and broken. "Don't sign it, son. They lied." Before cutting off with a wet gurgle. The suited man sighed. Daddy's being dramatic again. He produced a fountain pen filled with what looked like liquid mercury. "Sign, and you get to walk out of here tonight. Your mother lives, your wife comes back, the baby..." He smirked. "Well, let's just say cribs are on sale downstairs." A train whistle shrieked in the distance. The ground trembled. I reached for the pen. The man's grin widened. Then I drove it through his left eye. He howled. Black ichor sprang as I bolted for the platform edge. The departure board exploded in a shower of sparks as I leapt into the tunnel and landed sprawled in my own bedroom closet, surrounded by fallen coats. The dead phone lay silent at my feet. But in my hand, clutched so tight my fingers bled, was a single train ticket. Stamped in smudged red letters. "See you in 7 years." And worst of all, part of me was counting the days. The ticket burned my palm like dry ice as I stared at the bleeding date. 7 years. A reprieve or a death sentence? I dropped it into the fireplace, watching the edges curl black before vanishing in a puff of sulfur-scented smoke. The flames whispered secrets as they died. Outside, dawn bled across the sky. I used to wonder why my father always checked his watch at midnight. Now I knew. The clock was ticking. And hell keeps perfect time. End